to stop the Christmas tree. I'm really no one, so let's jump into this. As unfortunately Sinsin has disconnected, let's get this going. We have to the top right hand side our red Terran player. This is Bunny. And at the bottom left hand side, our blue Protoss player is Creator. It's game 1 of this best of 3 series. I haven't really talked much about where this group is at the moment. Bunny is currently 2-1, looking to go 3-1 if he's able to win this series here. His only loss currently against Innovation. Ragnarok, Creator, and Maxed are all 0-1, haven't been 2-0'd by Bunny. And Innovation is, well, Creator got 2-0'd by Innovation, sorry, so obviously Creator Bunny happening now. So Creator trying to go 1-1 in this group. Innovation is sitting at the top of the group 2-0. Bunny trying to finish up 3-1 and stop himself dropping down to 2-2. I mean, generally 3-1 or 2-2 is the way to go through these groups. 2-2, it comes down to map score a lot of the time. And another couple of matches will really kind of know where this is headed generally, in terms of who's starting to be eliminated and stuff like that, so. Probe, moving around here as the SCV gets ready to expand. Command said we'll just drop down out of position here. Obviously, at some point, you just gotta drop that CC. The pro is just so annoying. You just gotta kind of deal with it for a little bit. As he wants Cerulean full, we do see a Reaper on the way out from Bunny, actually, so getting that ready to go. Nexus currently about halfway done. Cybernetics core coming up to completion as well in the next few moments. And Creator with a probe going around towards the upper left-hand side. I'm going to be having a little bit of a loop around here, have a bit of a scout around to see what's going on. Adept being chrono boosted out of the gateways. We also see the Stargate dropping down into the main base. Reaper comes up and again just having a little bit of a scout here to see what's going on. As you have a grenade dropping down, and Adept will continue to push that Reaper away and out of the main in the next few moments. Another Adept shows up. And just going to try and keep chasing this away. Bunny is just going to be as annoying as he can with this Reaper. It starts to regenerate, so it will survive this Adept shot that's about to fire. And we'll be able to continue looping around for just a little bit longer. And as you see, the other Adept, though, gets the kill finally. Reaper going down. But scout information is good. He saw the Stargate, so Bunny has a good read on what Creator is trying to do here in the early stages. Goes in towards this orbital command right away. And orbital just on the way up. Oracle being chrono boosted out. Meanwhile, in the main base, a single Marine just hanging around for the moment. As you do see the third CC dropping down here from Bunny in the main base. Orbital on the natural going to lift up and move over. Another few SCVs coming along as well, and just going to be seeing everyone kind of going down to the low ground here. Interestingly, pulls out a gas. And that's actually really interesting. Pulls out of his gas to send the workers to the natural. I wonder what the plan is for Bunny then. One gas is, I mean, it's still a decent income. I mean, third CC is seen here. I guess maybe you only need one gas, considering there's no starport and it is the super fast third CC. You go very heavy on the minerals and you take 2 more racks very quickly. I guess it does kind of make sense. That third CC is, I guess, kind of a telling sign as to what, why this is happening. Creator with some good scouting though. That Adept getting to see the third command center makes him, now he knows exactly what's going on. And boom, immediately, zero fear at all as he just drops down his own third base. On location just like that, like boom, just does not care. So, third Nexus dropping down. As you see, a couple of assimilators are going to drop down as well here from Creator, so get that natural expansion rolling. Stasis Ward at the front is just set up as well. A couple more probes on the way out. And another Phoenix about to pop and join towards the front as well. 2 more barracks being added into play. Orbital command is about to complete. And just have a Marine gonna pop up and try and harass a little bit here, and Pylon taking some damage. This Adept comes in from the right hand side and is going to be able to get a Marine kill. A couple Forges, a Twilight Council, and a Robo Facility. Also all coming down now. Again, a very passive PvT in the early stages here on Cerulean Fall. Nothing too crazy. Everyone's just kind of sat back and chilling. And waiting to see what's going to happen next. Resonating Glaives starts to Chrono Boost out. Here we see the +1 attack and the +1 armor. Chrono boosting out as well. And there's the Adept and the Sentry going to come on over to the right hand side too. Bunker still just sat up the top. And again, a few more gates coming down into the main. Team Medevacs on the way up in this main base too, so still just getting this going. As you see this hallucination creator just bringing this up to the top side. Going to go into the main base and scatter around here. A couple of those extra racks coming down. So that is going to be 5 racks in total. And the hallucination does get taken down as well. 5 more gateways. Going to be 8 gates in total. With the free bases up, of course, 8 gates is obviously pretty good, and it means that you can get into that kind of, mass kind of free base production. You're going to have a ton of gateway units. You're going to have so much to work with here. And as we see this medevac of Bunny starting to come out across to the far left-hand side. Still a lot of potential damage to be done here with these drops. So finally the game's starting to heat up, starting to see a little bit of action. Bunny did this in one of the previous games as well against Maxet, where he sent that one medevac along one side and the Phoenix actually found it, but it allowed the rest of his army to get in position elsewhere. This time around it's a pretty good lock-on to kill a Phoenix. And the Marines, they actually just unloaded on the left-hand side, finding this pylon that was positioned here. Creator using this as a way to see drops that are incoming and watch them coming forwards. Again, those few Phoenix still just having a bit of a wander around the map as we do see the Marines from Bunny out in the center, and just going to see the Phoenix taking a little bit of a nibble there. Meanwhile, Adepts from Creator starting to move up into the upper right-hand side, and they are about to finish. Nope. They will cancel upon seeing that army. They are not wanting to fight this at all just yet. They do have Resonating Glaives, which will help, and a couple Force Wolves will keep them alive, but man, they're really kind of out in the middle of nowhere for the most part. Across the map, a couple of Debs do warp in. They go straight into the main +1 attack is here, so they will 2-shot SCVs now. Although other units come in, they're not target firing, so not much to be done there. Bunny sets off a single Stasis Ward with a single Marine. Phoenix come in, lifting up the Cyclones right away. The Marauders too, the high damage output, or the tanky units, allowing the Adepts to just focus up on the Marines. And this makes this a fight that Creator can actually win, forcing Bunny to lift up, back away, and to get out of here. So Bunny has to get out. No real option for him there. And he's going to start unloading back out into the center of the map. There's another Phoenix coming over. He's going to fly overhead and see just a few more of those units. But mostly looking pretty good right now. Still here for Bunny as he's getting ready to keep on pressing forwards. And his economy is good. Creator again just in these games of PvT just seems to let the little things pull him apart, and losing a Phoenix here or there, losing out on some Adepts because they're in the middle of the map. There's things like that that just mean that Creator never really has a great time in this. Those Phoenix did lift up those mines, which forced them to reburrow. Lifts up another one again, but the Widow mines that are burrowed are still going to go off. And well, now there's enough bio just to take down these Adepts, no issue. Extra Adepts will join the fray, and that's nice and all, but again, it's only really a matter of time until they also drop down, and Creator knows this is GG, as Bunny is looking to make this a 3-1 scoreline in the TV. Let's go in game 2 of this best of 3. To the bottom right-hand side, up a map, our red Terran player, this is Bunny. Bunny. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Up against Creator, the blue Protoss on the top left-hand side, one of the oldest players we've got in the history of StarCraft 2. Just everyone knows Creator, right? Everyone knows Creator. Cool to have him still playing the StarCraft 2s. It was fun to see him playing. And innovation. There we go. Cool. People just messaging me. I'm like, trying to figure it out. Okay. Well, early game on Parasite, not a lot to mention right away here. And as you just see this probe going to pop up and having a little bit of a look to see what's going on. Nibbling away at a couple of these SCVs and just being that general nuisance that you kind of expect, I guess. Probes are so annoying. Honestly, I think one of my least favorite things in StarCraft 2 is dealing with a probe harassing my barracks. I say this a lot, and really it is true. Like, the more I think about it, the more I realize I just absolutely hate it. It's so frustrating. Like, it is so frustrating. It's just like the last thing you ever want to have to deal with. It's annoying. I don't know. I know that obviously their probe's off the mineral lines, so you can kind of afford to bring yours off and this and that, and even still, it bothers me. It just bothers me. I want to switch to Protoss just to be able to harass Terran players' SCVs. It's like the only reason. And again, I guess the situation isn't that bad, really. I should just stop complaining, shouldn't I? Aye. Probe coming up to the upper left-hand side to have a little bit of a look to see. Hey, like, hi, what's up, what's going on? How you guys doing today? Probe hopping up straight away in towards the main base there. And we do have the rubber facility going to drop down to get that started. Reaper from Bunny hops up, and again the Adept going to be coming across to do a little bit of damage. Factory is dropping down in the main base, so getting that factory down. The main, we do see the command center is also on its way up at the moment, so getting that CC up. As the Adept still shading to try and deal with the Reaper. Second Rax comes in very quickly this time from Bunny, so obviously last game he went into a very fast pre-CC. His economy was pretty good. This game he's going to set up into what can be a very fast stim pack, and maybe a very fast little bit of aggression from there as well, so some possibilities on that one. As we do have, meanwhile, this Reaper just kind of pulling back down towards the bottom right a little bit. Immortal on the way up here from the robot facility as well, still getting this going. As this Reaper just keeps on moving around. Scatting all over the map. Probes are more annoying in Brood War. There's a reason I don't play Brood War. If probes are more annoying in Brood War than they are in StarCraft 2, then I'd be done. I would be so out of there. Oh my god. I honestly, it really just, it's not even that I'm bad at dealing with it or anything like that. It just is frustrating to deal with. Like, really frustrating. Okay, it's morphing in as we see the Reaper just going to try and get one last little bit of info up on here, but another Adept in position. So again, finally Creator gets that cleaned up. Now this was a robot opening, which means that Creator has been able to get a very fast Immortal. And Prism now out 2 with these 3 gateways is going to try and apply a lot of pressure. This bunker at the front is just full of Marines. But the other units are all in the main base, because right now Bunny doesn't know exactly what's going on. He will split his Widowmine out to the front as well, but has to be careful with where it goes. I guess with this Marine leading the charge, he's going to see this attack, and that's going to be huge for Bunny. Getting the information that this attack is incoming means he can instantly insta-surround this bunker, add extra bunkers as well. Those extra times, you know, the extra time of just already having this building is really important. Widowmine does get baited out by the Warp Prism lift up. Oh, nice force fields. Well, those are 2 force fields to kill a Cyclone. Now he doesn't really have the force fields to force field the bunkers and to stop the repair, but also he can't move forwards as easily here because those force fields are blocking his way for a moment. Force field number 1 comes down as the bunker trying to be targeted, but the damage output just isn't here. Again, the force fields, you need a full set of force fields to break that down, and this is not happening. His Creator will expand behind it back at home. He's up in a decent worker count and just has to be careful not to lose too much of this army, especially as Stim comes up here. I mean, he's forced a lot out of Bunny now. Observer found in the main base. A scan there will take that down. And these extra Adepts just going to come shading forwards, but again, depots will raise. Well, Immortal and a couple of Stalkers just picking their way through. Marines here on the natural expansion getting quite a lot of damage done. And these Marines just continue to pick away at the Adepts. Everything just not going right at all for Creator. Good defense by Bunny, who is again looking to take himself to a 3-1 scoreline in this Group C of the Korean League, of the Korean section of our tournament. Now, other players, by the way, already through to the Korean playoffs. Kua and Petit Drogo won their groups. Trap and Sue, Solo and Fantasy finished up in second and third places of their groups as well. So far we have 2 Terrans, 2 Protoss, and 2 Zerg advancing forwards. See how the rest of today goes. Again, currently we don't know how well Ragnarok's going to do. We've got a lot of his matches still to cast. Innovation is 2-0, but we have his matches left to cast. Bunny's looking good to advance through, though. If he wins this series, he's 2-1. Creator would be 0-2, which doesn't make it impossible for him, but it does make it difficult. However, he will have also played Innovation and Bunny, which are arguably 2 of the more difficult players in the in the group. So arguably Creator still has actually a relatively reasonable chance of making something happen. It's a possibility. It's a reality. It could be done. 2 more barracks getting popped down here from Bunny, so getting those set up as we see this hallucination coming across to the bottom right hand side. Medevac of Marines up to the top, and they're going to come across to maybe get ready to unload in the next few moments. Marines picking off 1 probe, and again this Medevac with a Widow Mine inside of it just coming out down into the center. Bunny goes up the right hand side with a couple of Marauders and a couple of Marines. 2 full Medevacs here from Bunny. Going to come across, and they're going to get ready to unload and get going. So again, just looking to drop around, but there is a Colossus up. In fairness, Creator has got some tech for himself here. However, it's only 1 Colossus here. The other 2 are hidden away elsewhere over in the main. That is where that drop is heading. Just the Colossus walk out of the main or walk a bit to the side. Adding a couple of cannons, getting ready to defend these positions from these drops. As we have got those Medevacs going to continue up and heading into the main. In the next couple of moments, here we go. Fire going to start to unload, and a couple of cannons. Well, there's the cancel on 1. The other cannon still built for the moment, but will get killed off here. And again, with the Colossus here, not really too much of an issue. Creator started to pull his units away, but will have them back in position before too long to deal with this attack. I mean, the Widow Mine burrows up, and well, actually might just go off on Zealots here more so than the more so than the probes. In the end, it's just 2 Marauders that get out. So Bunny is unsuccessful with his initial drops, and Creator holds on quite nicely for the moment. His multitasking not able to break down the Protoss player. His multitasking good enough to kind of stand up to the Terran player's harassment. Bunny's multitasking not good enough to break Creator down. Bio unloading out in the center as we see more units coming up from the bottom right hand side. Widow Mines, Marines, and Marauders all coming across and joining up in the middle of the map. Storm coming through on the Templar Archives, +2 attack and +2 armor on the way down too. As you just see again, those Medevacs continue to come up to the top side of the map. A little bit of a sim forwards. We do see a Nexus maybe in some trouble here. This is a bit interesting because actually, I guess Creator was a bit out of position, but not too far out of position. Yes, it's a cancel on the Nexus, but otherwise, he's actually doing pretty well pushing this back. Again, Bunny bleeds off a few units in this. Colossus continue to go down. We're going to see this fight continue to go through. Bunny is continuing to try and make something happen. Split into a concave. Nice micro on that low health Colossus. Will keep it alive, and Creator making this happen at the moment as he continues to press forwards. So Creator continuing to press down at the moment. Medevacs will unload a little bit here. A couple of Marauders and Marines coming on out. And again, a couple of Libs getting set up with the rest of this as well. Yeah, a few High Templar continue to get set up. A few Zealots getting ready to go. Some Archons morphing in. I mean, Storm is done, but right now, in terms of immediately pushing forwards, obviously Archons will come around just a little bit faster. That scan doesn't really enable much. Those Liberators are going to be a bit of a frustration, but Stalkers will get rid of the first one. Big Storm actually on a clump of Bio. Like that, the Widow Mine's going off on the same Archon, so while the Archon goes down, it's not that bad still. Another couple Liberators may be the saviors at the moment as Creator is still pressing in, and Bunny is still having a bit of a tough time in terms of dealing with this. Extra Zealots warping in from the Prism. This army still set up. The Liberators are here. Stalker takes a shot. Just that. Blink is on its way, but obviously not here yet. Trying to use the range of the Colossus to fire over the Liberators. The issue is now 2 more Liberators are about to arrive, and as 2 more Liberators arrive, this becomes a bit more of an issue for Creator as the Warp Prism gets taken down, so Micro goes away. One of the Colossus targeted very quickly. Storm hits all of those Medivacs. Wow, hit the Liberator as well. That was actually kind of a big deal, and I actually think that's good enough for Creator. That Storm was insane. Hits Bio Units, hits the Medivacs. There's a Liberator still left over, but as that goes down, there isn't a lot left here. Killing the Prism was obviously huge. I mean, Bunny might not die. Creator will kite away, and SCVs are being brought in. SCV is currently lifted up into a Medivac after trying to kill the Immortal. Wow, what a fight here by Creator and Bunny. Bunny just went for it, but Creator had a good engagement, had a good position. Creator now going to back away out into the center, as we are going to be seeing the +3 attack and the +3 armor on the Forge is being Chrono boosted through. Blink going to complete very soon, but Creator just going to back away here. 4th Nexus drops down the front, and Bunny's just going to GG out. He knows he is dead, and for the first going to jump into Kairos Junction for Game 3 of Bunny Creator. We are not even halfway through the day yet in our first tournament. After this, we still have 5 best of 3s to play, including a couple of innovation matches, a bunch of Ragnarok games, more from Maxed as well. So if you're just tuning in, you're, again, tuning in at a hell of a good time. We're really just getting warmed up. I also have a second tournament going on later today as well, the WardiTV Christmas Invitational Qualifier. So we're going to be casting that in about... That starts in 3.5 hours time. So by the time we finish casting this series, we cast 5 more best of 3s. We may play a bit of marbles in the interim, but in general, we're going to go straight from one event into the other. And it's just going to be hours upon hours upon hours of StarCraft 2 here today. And that's what we like to see, right? Top left-hand side, our red Terran player is Bunny. Losing out to the Protoss army there in that last game. I kind of thought Bunny was doing okay, but again, Creator was able to put up a fight. Those Colossus were never really truly answered for. That's the bottom right-hand side. The blue Protoss is Creator. Bunny is apparently sick. Cranks thinks he should just fucking deal with it. So does pretty much everyone else here. So that's all good at the moment. As we do see the game getting established here. So getting this going. Fronya in the chat is saying, "We wish you a Wardy Christmas." Awesome. I mean, I reckon that could be a decent Christmas song. You guys think? I think it could be okay. Command center from Bunny will drop down in the natural, as we do see the probe is going to be moving across down towards the bottom right hand side. Reaper starting up from Bunny in the main base, the command center dropping down, obviously, as we saw, and the Nexus from Creator. Here on Kairos, it's one of those maps where I actually feel Terran becomes very powerful with Liberator pushes, because a lot of these bases are very choked up. So as soon as a Terran gets on top of one of those bases, it's actually also very difficult to rotate around to then flank the Terran. You know, maybe if they siege up on this base, you can come around this way. But if they siege up on this base here, for example, how do you ever get around the Terran play? I feel almost impossible. So I really like that for how Terran can play, but it also means it's very good for splash-based units again from the Protoss players, such as, for example, you know, such as Colossus, because it means it's very difficult for the Terran to then push in from multiple directions as well. Creator goes for the fast robo facility again, and it was the fast robo facility in game number 2, but didn't really look great for him initially, because again, the Immortal push didn't really do a lot, and Dev gets a couple shots on the Reaper, which is enough to force it away for the moment. But yeah, intrigued to see if the Robo Facility is again for a fast Immortal, or if there's something else that's going to be at play here from Creator that he's thinking about and that he wants to try and get set up. What's up, Heracula? Thank you so much for the 12-month resub. Get some love in the chat for Heracula. Thank you so much for the 12 months. You already have a decoration on the tree, right? I feel like you might even have 2 somehow. I don't know. Let me know if you don't, though, because then I'll get you another one. Right now, the tree is pretty overloaded, though. It's pretty insane. I feel like you probably put one on the tree for you yesterday, though, right? Oh, not yesterday, but the day before, during marbles. Ay, ay, ay. What a life. Immortal being chrono boosted out from Creator at the moment. The Sentry is about to pop out as well. As the depth from Creator continues to come across to the bottom right-hand side. Reaper from Bunny coming over too, and he's about to collide once more. As you do see, this Reaper is going to be in a little bit of trouble, though. Nope, it's going to be okay for the moment. Again, Adept is chasing that Reaper down, and, well, there's 1 hit. There's 2 hits. Decent job so far. Reaper taking a couple of shots. You donated for some Rift Blush ornaments? Yes, okay. I thought so. I thought so. Perfect. But I mean, the Rift Blush ornaments are brilliant, so I don't blame you. We continue to look around as we do see again. It is this kind of fast Immortal Prism on the way up as well. Man, the Reaper's going to see this though. Will get taken down here. So he knows it's coming. The bunker is set up. The units will now start to maybe gather towards the natural. I guess you have to keep something in the main in case the War Prism decides to just drop into the main base instead. But with a siege tank coming out, this feels as though it should be a very safe and secure setup for our Terran player. SCVs are once again pre-pulled. The one thing this time is there's actually less sentries. There's only 2, but there's also got more energy going into the actual fight on the bunker because he hasn't used his force fields before now. Comes in, he's just going to try and target down SCVs, knowing they're pre-pulled onto the bunker, using the Prism to get out of there without taking too many losses. Oh, Prism is locked onto though. It would be nice if we could stop that from happening as the scan comes down to guarantee the kill. Turns around their creator with the units and tries to target the Cyclone, which kind of worked. It pushed it back, but it was too late. The Warp Prism was already dead, and that means that, well, Creator's aggression is more or less already over. It's too risky for him to stay on the map without a Prism, without that micro potential, which keeps so many of his units so much safer than usual. Observer still just sat up here, just south of the main base, as we do see Marines, a couple of siege tanks, a Cyclone, and a Widowmine are all heading across to the bottom right-hand side. Creator still just sat here at the front of the natural with a bunch of these units too, and again, a shield battery will drop down from Creator on the right side of this as well. Again, more Marines coming around the left as we do see the Cyclone starting to attack into this here. There's those tanks fighting away, and boom, one pylon taken down instantly. A little bit of back and forth as we do see the Nexus is in a little bit of trouble, starting to take quite a few shots here at the moment, so Nexus is starting to drop down. Here we go. Attacking from the left-hand side. Comes in. The force field's pretty good to help out, but the fact that it's 2 tanks makes this so scary, and also the stim is obviously working quite well as well. As we see the Stalkers coming in from the bottom side of this, going to also fight their way through the siege tank, and well, the tank goes down. Observer gets scanned and taken down as well. Bunny's Marines continue to back away out into the center and all the way across to the left here. 5 more Marines, combat shields all on the way up at the moment, and there's Bunny also healing up a few more of these Marines too. He's going to try and keep up this pressure. Great. Again, I liked it initially, but I felt as though there's a point where you needed to just somehow get away, and it is that position I was talking about on the Terran side of the map, where to get away you got to go all the way around and loop back down. It's not easy. Great positional play at the moment from Bunny, using these rocks to, well, just kind of put his siege tanks down. He's choking up this area, and he's making it very difficult for the pros to do much about this. So it's going to be really, really tough for Creator to defend, because Bunny is just playing this slow and steady, knowing that he's putting himself in a good little position as long as he just keeps this going. No need to rush into anything. There go a few of the units around the left, but I mean, this flank in might not even be good enough. Timer is ticking because this Nexus continues to take some damage. Tank sieges up, and Marines will stem forwards as well. Prism is out now. And here we go, some units coming in from the left-hand side. We are going to start to see this commitment. The Colossus, though, is just find a couple of reinforcing Marines. That's not really how you want this to be going. There's no extended thermal lance just yet either. I mean, that Colossus in the back is going to go down to the tanks eventually, I think. Meanwhile, the Bio gets rid of the Colossus here and is going to get rid of so many of these probes. And Creator is in so much trouble at the moment here. And stemming forwards, Marines are going to pick off a few more of those Stalkers. Going to chase down for a couple of those probes as well. And this is truly going to be GG, I feel, as Bunny just has way too much. And Bunny will improve his score to a 3-1 in the group.